I guess while we're waiting for people to tune in, we can talk about some of the standard stuff.
Yeah, so let's do a run through of what photo ops is, how photo op works. Right?
Yes, that's a great idea.
So the first thing you do, obviously, is you purchase a ticket. You either purchase it online with a credit card, or you purchase it at site with cash, right? So make sure that if you don't have your ticket yet and you're waiting to purchase it at the convention, to have plenty of cash with you, because, you know, everybody seems to want to take cash at conventions. Next step.
So once you've purchased your tickets, there's going to be a time on your ticket. Now, the photo op may start at a specific time, and the ticket you have may specify a totally different time. And the reason for that is because we have a group system, and the purpose of the group system is to avoid people standing in lines for really long periods of time. What happens is, at the start time, there's going to be a certain group, and you'll be lined up for that group 5 to 15 minutes before your shoot time on your ticket. And then after the system believes that many people would have gotten their tickets, there'll be another time where we have another group, and those people can go line up 5 to 15 minutes before the time on their ticket. And that way, the lineup, by the time the second group gets there, the lineup should have been already starting to move, and then everybody can flow through without having to wait in line for a long period of time. So that's kind of how that works. It doesn't, it's not bulletproof. Obviously, if there's unforeseen circumstances, for example, a guest is late for some reason, then as you can imagine, things start to build up and back up. And unfortunately, those are things beyond our control. But in general, we've seen some great success with the group system, and people have given us some good feedback on it.
Yeah, so that was kind of the group system. What the group system is not is, it doesn't mean that you're going to have your photo taken with a group of people or strangers, right? The group system is basically like the airport zones. So you have your zone 1, and that's when you're boarding the flight, or in our case, you're boarding the photo ops for group 1 or group 2 or group 3. So that's what that group system is about. Photo ops can run late sometimes, or start late, and that has various reasons for it. Like Al was saying, it could be that the guest is late to the photo ops because it is a long distance from the autograph area to for Calgary specifically. It's a long way from the autograph area to the photo ops. A lot of guests, they see their lineups at the autograph table and they don't want to leave that, obviously, right? Because they don't want to just have to sell that one person that's next in line. Nope, sorry, we can't take you anymore, because that's devastating. So there's lots of reasons why a guest is late. And consequently, the later they are, the more it snowballs, and we're going to end up not starting on time, obviously. So we do ask for your patience on that. What else? So then you get into the booth. Once you get to the booth, and I'll pass that over to Al again, because he's our head photographer in Calgary.
So the way the booths work are, we've optimized everything to make them as efficient as possible. So the first thing you're going to see when you come in is you're going to see a greeter who's going to be standing there with a barcode scanner. Now, if you have your ticket ready, not hidden in your purse or your pocket or in some bag somewhere, if you have your ticket ready, then things are going to go significantly faster. So that greeter is going to scan your ticket. There's a big barcode on your ticket, and then it's going to have you registered in the system, and the system's going to know that your photograph is being taken. Then you're going to see a table where you need to put your bags, so that you're not bringing your bags into the photo booth. Because what happens with the bags is first of all, they look crappy in photos. But second of all, they also slow everything down, because people don't know where to put their bags, and they don't want to have them in the photograph. And then after the photo, they have to go and pick up their bags again, and it becomes this big clatter of people. So that's the purpose of the table. And we have volunteers there at the table to make sure that the bags move down the table. And you enter in one side of the booth, you get your photo taken, and then you exit out the other side of the booth, and then your bag will be right there waiting for you. So have some faith and confidence that your bag will make it from the beginning of the booth to the end of the booth, and you'll get it back. Once you enter the booth, there will be an usher inside giving you some pointers. Now, if you wear glasses, the science behind it is that the flash we use is at a specific angle. If your glasses, the front of your glasses actually matches the angle of the flash exactly, you're going to have two big white circles on your eyeballs and on your glasses, and you're not going to be able to see your eyes. So the trick is, if the flash is on an angle similar to this, then you're going to want your glasses to be on a different angle. And typically, just pointing them just ever so slightly down can make a big difference. The light will go right through your glasses and it'll light up your eyes, and you'll look fantastic. On that exact same thing, actually, Yukon Chick just asked us a question which pertains directly to this. Can we bring props to get photographed with? The answer is yes. In some cases, the guests won't want to hold the prop, but there's no reason why you can't hold it. If it's do you have a book handy? I guess you got lots of books handy. So if you're holding a comic book or some sort of book that you got signed, or maybe perhaps a photograph of somebody, again, that same angle of the photo flash is going to come into play. So if you hold your book up like this and it matches the angle of the flash, the book is going to be just a big white square. So what we want you to do is we want you to tilt here's an example. You can see the light off of our camera, I guess, sort of. Oh, it's too slow. But anyway, if you tilt it forward just slightly, then the flash is going to light the book or the picture very nicely, and you're going to get a very good photo. Now that can be a little touchy when you talk about devices like an iPad or an iPhone, or even lightsabers and Doctor Who screwdrivers and such. The flash will typically be hundreds of times more powerful than the little LEDs and stuff inside these devices. So what happens is, you have a picture of your cousin Susan, and you're going, oh, Susan couldn't be here, I want to hold her up and show you. You're holding your iPad up, and then the flash goes off and all you see is a black screen. Now, if you're good with Photoshop, you can take your cousin's picture and put it in afterwards. But ideally, you bring a photograph of your cousin, and then the photograph will show up really beautifully, providing you tilt it slightly forward when you're holding it. Doctor Who screwdrivers and lightsabers and things like that, the LEDs in those will not show up. However, you can still Photoshop that in later and put a really cool lightsaber effect on it.
Yukon Chick just also asked, will you help us adjust glasses props to the best angle?
Yes.
The best way to deal with the glasses is just take your chin and just tuck it just a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. And that's just usually enough for there not to be any glare on the glasses. And yes, if we see it, obviously our photographers will try to catch that. And if they see that your glasses are kind of at the wrong angle, they will tell you ahead of time that, please, hey, just tuck your chin in just a little bit and it'll be great. If not, we do always watch. If there's glare on the glasses, we do a retake immediately if the photographer catches it right away. Yeah. If not, obviously, if we miss it and you see it on your photo, you are welcome to come and say, hey, I've got this glare, can I get a retake? Obviously, that's not going to be a problem whatsoever. Yeah.
So the photographers do have a computer screen that the camera's hooked up to, and the second we take a picture, the photo appears on the screen, and we can actually check for blinks and glare on glasses and stuff. And we try really hard to catch those and fix them immediately. The problem is sometimes with very large lineups and really, really popular guests, it's going too fast to be able to catch every single one of those. So like Tatiana said, after you pick up your photo, which will be done 45 seconds after we take the picture, your photo will be ready. Just have a look at it, and if you have a blink or really bad glare or something, just let the staff know, and they'll bring you back through for a retake.
Yeah. So as Al was saying, so you have your ushers that bring you in, and then once you have your photo taken, one of the suggestions for us is, or photo ops is not a meet and greet, right? So it's not a chance for you to meet the guest and have a conversation with them and all that. It is exactly that. It's a photo op. So you only have a few seconds, maybe 7-8 seconds, where you can get in, where you can maybe shake hands with the guest and turn around and then get yourself ready for the pose. So that's what that time should be taken for, is getting your pose ready. If you do have a specific pose in mind, and the ushers will tell you whether or not guests will allow poses or not. So if you have a specific pose that you want, do bring it on your smartphone and show it to the guest real quick, and then you can do that, right? So then once you have your pose done, smile, flash goes off, and you get taken out. There's one thing that I do want to mention, which is babies. For babies, we do get a lot of small children and babies. What we would ask is the parents, just look at the photographer. Don't look at the baby. Don't worry about the baby. The photographer will worry about the baby.
Yeah.
We'll
demonstrate how bad it works when you try and look at your baby. So you're looking at the baby, going, look at the camera, look at the camera, look at the camera. The baby looks at the camera, you're looking at the baby, we take the picture. So that doesn't work. Now, if you're looking at the camera and the baby's looking around the room, the photographer is going to make a lot of noises and try and make cute noises and get the attention of the baby. We'll make fools
of ourselves.
Yeah, we'll make fools of ourselves to get your baby's attention. So you'll be looking at the camera and you're ready there to get the perfect photo, and you're holding your baby. And that split second where the baby goes, what's that weird noise? Click, we take the picture and everybody gets a beautiful shot. So don't look at your baby and try and get your baby or your small child to look at the camera. Don't go, oh, Bobby, look at the camera, Bobby, because you're basically gonna ruin any chance of you getting a good shot. So we'll take care of the kids. You take care of your smile.
Yep, it's kind of like again, airplane, right? Put the oxygen mask on yourself before you deal with the baby.
That's a good one. So we have a couple more questions here. Bob Pink asks, how far apart should we book photo ops?
Well, best way to do that is we suggest a half an hour. If you can leave a half an hour between your guests, that's awesome, especially if you're coming on the weekend and you have a chance to book one guest on one day and a guest on another day. Yukon Chick did also ask, how many, no, that's not the right one.
How can I?
He was asking, yes, Yukon Chick was asking, how many, can I bring multiple people under one photo op ticket?
Yeah.
Yes, you can. You
Up
can
to
bring
4,
up
right?
to 4 people,
Yeah.
right? So you and 3 of your family or friends, not counting children 3 and under. Okay, so babies, toddlers, they're awesome, they're great, right? It was actually Bradley Kenobi, who I think is the long lost cousin of Ben Kenobi.
Oh, very possibly.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
He may have a lightsaber for his shot.
He might totally. So he asked, for the upcoming Calgary Comic-Con, I can only attend one of the days, but there are 2 photo ops occurring at the same time for 2 different celebs. Are you able to accommodate both and ensure I could do both, since no other times for photos are available that day? So again, if you can leave a half an hour between the celebs, that's awesome. We do realize that because of the group system, you might be in group 1 for one, I'd say at 5 o'clock, and group 3 for another, that's also at 5 o'clock. We will do our utmost to accommodate you and get you to both of your photo ops, right?
But let somebody at the front customer service know that you have these 2 tickets that are at the same time, because we can't accommodate you if you're really far down the line in the first line. We may not be able to get you through fast enough to get you to the second line.
Yeah.
But if we know that you have these 2 photo ops, then we may be able to move things around or make some kind of arrangements to make sure you get both your shots.
Look for these shirts, right? They have the Epic Photo Op logo on them. Those are our staff. So if you're in line or you're getting ready to get in line, then do let them know that you have 2 photo ops at the same time, that you're only here today. Those are the only 2 times that these guests are here, and you really want to see these guests, and they will do their utmost to accommodate you and make sure that you get both of those photo ops, right? Yep. The other thing that we also suggest is that once you've had one photo op taken, you just come back around and go back outside, and don't pick up your first picture. Pick that up when you have your second photo op done.
Yeah, that could speed things up, definitely. Alyssa has a question. Will we have to redeem our photo ops beforehand, or will they be scanned at the photo op booth?
No, you don't have to redeem your photo ops beforehand. If you have your ticket on either your phone, we can scan from the phone, but you have to have the brightness up. You have to make sure that the QR code shows large on that screen, and you have to make sure that your phone is out and ready to be scanned before you get to our greeter. We obviously prefer to have a printed ticket just because it makes it a little faster, right? So that people are not juggling with their phones or looking for things. So we do prefer a printed ticket, but we can scan off of the smartphone too.
Yeah. But again, either way, whether you have your ticket on your phone or you have a paper ticket, make sure as soon as the line starts moving and you're heading into the photo booth that you actually have that ticket ready so that the greeter can scan it from you, and then you can just carry on. And then another important tip is, once your ticket's been scanned, put it back in your pocket or your purse so you don't get a photo with a little ticket. Now, we try, as photographers, we try really hard to make sure that people aren't holding pieces of paper and things while they're getting their photos done. But if you're, the more you're prepared, the more likely you're going to get a perfect shot without any options of mistakes.
So there's the question of what happens if a photo op is canceled? Can I exchange it for another? If a photo op is canceled, depending on when that photo op gets canceled, if it gets canceled more than 2 weeks from the convention, then we automatically refund that photo op. If the photo op gets canceled within like a week or a couple of days or even an hour before the photo op, then yes, you can either choose to have it refunded, or you can take that ticket and you can take it to our customer service desk and exchange it for another photo op that's equal or greater in value. The reason that it needs to be equal or greater in value is because we have to refund to the original form of payment, and we can't give you any cash back on something that you've purchased online. If you've purchased it with cash on site, we can make an exception, but generally you can exchange it for another guest for equal or greater value.
And to be clear, if the other guest is greater value, you'll have to pay the difference.
Yes. So, will there be group times for bigger guests like Norman Reedus where groups go at separate times, Alyssa? Yeah, I think we answered that earlier. So we have a group system. So popular guests, where we have, the way it works is that we have lots of guests, and some guests are more popular than others. So for really popular guests, we allocate a certain amount of time for them. So it could be half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour or so to have their photo ops done in. And for each session, we sell as many photo ops as we feel that celebrity can do comfortably in that time period. So for more popular guests, we'll have that subdivided into 15-minute sessions, sub-sessions. So you have a group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4. And if you show up about 5 or 10 minutes, I would say, before the start time on your ticket in the photo op area, then and check with we have little boarding screens that show which line we're boarding now into the photo ops, or ask our line control people, then they will direct you to the correct line.
Ria has a question. Can I give Stanley a gift? It's not recommended that you bring gifts for the stars. I would say, being a photographer, I know this from a lot of experience. I would say 95, maybe 98% of the time, they don't take them. They basically just leave them in the booth. I've been told by the guests that they do not have room in their luggage to take stuff back. And in addition to that, they don't want to hurt your feelings, so they'll say thank you very much and hand it to the agent or whatever, but then it just stays in the booth. So the gesture is kind, but they typically will not take gifts. So please don't bother to bring a gift in.
There's another point to that is also don't bring gifts, and don't ask for autographs. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's an absolute no-no in the photo ops area. A, there's no time for it. B, you have to pay for autographs at their tables. So asking for an autograph in the photo ops area is just a big no-no, right? There's something else to do with the poses, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. Another big no-no is don't kiss the guests, please, right? Don't try to bite the guests. We have had that happen. And please don't hug them, right? Our ushers will tell you if a specific guest has specifications of things that they don't like. Some don't like shaking hands because they might have arthritis and it's painful to them, right? or they might just be just having recovered from an illness and just don't want to have to deal with the germs. Because for you, it's one person, but for them, they see hundreds and thousands of people, right? Mm-hmm. So if they have to shake, you know, if that line is 300 people deep and all 300 people want to shake that hand, that's a lot of germs, mm-hmm. right? So just, you know, be considerate of that, and just, you know, have have fun, but do have consideration of that. Also, another thing that's a sort of a no-no with the guests, don't ask to be picked up, and don't pick up the guests, okay? Because we don't want to drop them.
Yeah. Bob Pink asks, sometimes the crowds around the photo op area are huge. Is there anything that we could do as attendees to make it run smoother for you? Yeah, thanks, Bob. Sometimes, now it depends on which convention it is. In some conventions, like for example, Calgary and Edmonton, we allocate as much line space as possible so that we can keep everything nicely organized. In other conventions, sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes there's a really small amount of space and a lot of people get jammed together, especially if one of the guests runs late or something, then all of a sudden there's an even more of a backlog of guests. But one of the things that you can do is have your tickets ready. If the guests allow poses, have your pose ready, have it figured out. You know, when you come into a booth, if you know that you're not going to be hugging the guest, and you know that the guest is not going to be picked up, and you have your ticket ready, a lot of the guests will do the fist bump thing. So you can walk in and you can be a confident fan ready to get the perfect picture, and you can she'll play the guest for this example. So I'll walk in, I'll go, oh wow, great to meet you. Right? Bam, we get a great shot. Thank you so much. Have a great day. And you leave. Now you're going to get exactly what you expected. You're going to get a beautiful photo that you paid for. Now, if you come in and you're like, hey, how's it going? And then the photographer's like, please look here. And you're like, what? Huh? And then click, and you get this weird picture. Or even worse, if you're like, oh man, can I shake your hand? And they're like, sorry, I don't really. And you're like, oh gee, I didn't know, sorry. You know, like there's a bunch of time wasted there having a conversation that's not gonna. If you say, oh, I really loved you in this great show, and you know, I'm a really big fan of yours, great.
Thank you.
You're ready to take the picture, so you can still say what you want to say, but be ready to take the picture. If you go in there for big hugs and you're like, this is really important. Some of the guests love to do fun stuff. They like to do crazy poses. But if they go, so what kind of pose would you like to do? And you're like, I don't know. And they're like, well, let's do something like this. And you're like, I don't know. Well, maybe. Like you can see how that would waste a lot of time. But if you're like, okay, if the guest is going to do this pose, I want to do Charlie's Angels. So they come in, they go, what pose would you like to do? And you're like, Charlie's Angels. Okay, great. You know, bang, we're done, we're ready to go, and you get an awesome picture. Think in your mind, think about this is your opportunity to get an amazing photo with somebody that you have a lot of respect for and you're a big fan of. So focus on getting that awesome shot. Look at the camera, don't blink. Another thing that we see a lot is that people will look at the camera, and then just before we take the picture, they'll look up at the flash. The flash doesn't take your picture, the camera does. So look at the lens of the camera. Make sure all the people in your group are ready to look at the lens of the camera and not blink. And we'll do our best to get you the best picture that you can expect.
Something else that you can do to make things run smoother for us is not hang out in the photo ops area. So show up about 5 or 10 minutes before the time on your ticket in the photo op area. Don't show up a half an hour early. Don't show up an hour early, right? Because we do have a limited amount of space, and we can only put so many people in that space. So, and if you show up an hour early and then that place is packed because we can't line you up yet, then the people whose photo op is now won't be able to get through you to get to their lines, to get to their photo ops, right? So do be considerate of the other people, and that's one way to help us make things run smoother. Also listen to line control. We do have a PA system in Calgary this year, so we will be using that PA system. So do pay attention. Don't sit down in your lines. If you're in the lineup area already, don't sit down. There's 2 reasons for that. One, when the line starts moving, it moves really quick. And 2, it's a fire hazard, right? If you're sitting on the floor and you've got your things around and everything, if there's an emergency, like a massive emergency or something, you're going to get trampled. We obviously don't want that. So please don't sit down when you're in lineup. The other thing that you can do to make it run smoother for us is when you're posing, if there's 3 of you, have 1 person on the far side of the guest and 2 people closer to the guest. Or if they're, and try to size yourself according to size.
When you want a beautiful picture, if you can have the tall people in the back, in the middle, and then the shorter people coming out down the sides, it makes a really nice balanced picture. If you have the tall people on the outsides and the short people on the inside, then it gives you a really weird picture. That's one of the basic rules of composition. But if you can help with that, if you're there with a group and you want to get that awesome picture, if you can be ready for that and you tell the group, okay, I'm taller than you, I'm going to go to the outside, or I'm going to go to the inside, you're going to go to the outside because you're a little bit shorter. Or if you have kids generally will go in front of the guest, because obviously the guests are usually taller than the children, so that it works out really nice. The guests will often put their arms down around the kids, and then the parents can come just to the either side and get this really nice kind of family portrait look.
And again, if don't ask the guest to hold your children unless they offer. I know there are some guests, some of our lady guests that are absolute fans of little babies, and they can't wait to hold them. But there's also a lot of people that don't want to, or if the guest is sitting, they don't want them on their laps. So don't offer. If they offer, everything goes, right? There's something else I want, and I just lost it.
Well, while you're thinking about that, I also wanted to mention, we talked about buying your tickets, and we talked about going in the booth, getting the greeter to scan your ticket. The ushers are going to tell you what to do with your glasses and such. Once you leave the booth, you need that ticket again to check out. One of the biggest questions we get on our customer service channels is, I didn't get my digital copy of my photo. Well, first of all, digital copies do cost extra. And so you have to understand that you have to have paid for it. But if you have paid for it, the system only knows to send you your digital copy if you scan out at the exit. So there will be scanners at the exit, and what they're going to do is they're going to scan your ticket, and then they're going to scan your picture. So you have to pick your picture up, and you have to have your ticket and your picture ready, and then you're going to scan out. The second the computer sees the ticket and the photo scanned, it matches them, and then it sends out your digital copy to the email address that you gave us when you bought your tickets. So if you're not getting your digital copy, generally it's because you didn't check out, or something else might have gone wrong, or you didn't pay for a digital copy. Those are usually the most common areas.
Sometimes you might end up getting somebody else's picture, and that's just, again, if that happens, that's because we had a really popular guest and we're swamped trying to scan everybody out, and it is a technical issue because then our scanners are not checking the screens, and we do apologize for that. If that does happen and you get somebody else's picture instead of your own, just email us and email us that photo code. It starts with a P-, and it's in the bottom of your picture. And I don't have a picture here with us, but at the bottom of your picture, there's a white border that has a barcode. And next to the barcode, there's a little code that says P-, and then 9 digits or nine letters. And then just send us that, and which convention that you were at, because we do a lot of conventions. We don't just do one here and one there. We do a lot of conventions throughout the year. And send that to support@epicphotoops.com, and we will send you out the correct picture.
So Yukon Chick just asked, how many poses / shots can we get with one photo pass? Can we get one photo with a prop and one photo without?
Absolutely, but you have to pay for 2 photo ops. So per photo op ticket, you get 1 pose. So if you buy 3 tickets, you get 3 different poses. And you can, if you have multiple people, you can decide who's going to be in which picture. And for that, we also ask if you have, for instance, 3 photo ops, and you have one that you want to do and one that you want to do with everybody, and then another one that another person wants to do, then we suggest that a solo person does their photo first, then the other person or the other persons enter the picture with them, and then those people that are for the second shot, and then for the third shot, the two people or the one person that's not supposed to be in the picture leave again. That just makes it easier than if we have everybody in the picture and then somebody leaves and then somebody else comes in, and that creates a bit of hectic. So we always do a solo first, and then a group shot, and then if there's another solo, we do the second solo after. For Calgary specifically, we have a fast pass. This year, we also, I think, had a fast pass last year. The way the fast pass for Calgary specifically works is everybody in your group, if there's just you and you have a fast pass, awesome, right? Just let line control know. They will put you in the fast pass lane and you go. If you and your family have want to go in the fast pass lane, all of you have to have a fast pass, right? That means that if there's 3 of you that want to use the fast pass lane, all 3 of you need to have a fast pass. If only one of you has a fast pass and all 3 of you want to be in one photo, then you need to go in the regular line.
Good point.
Alyssa also said, when will MegaCon Orlando ops go on sale? Alyssa, I'm not 100% sure, but I think in the next couple of days, MegaCon is going to announce that. We always announce when photo ops go on sale on our Facebook page, and that's usually a couple of weeks before the convention starts. So I think in the next couple of days, MegaCon is going to announce when we're going to be going on sale.
Okay. Bob Pink asks, what if the guest wants to do another pose? Can we get a copy of that for free, or do we have to pay for it? What if we like it better than ours? Okay, well, it's pretty simple. There's a small charge for additional prints. So if for whatever reason the guest wanted to do 2 or 3 shots and then you look at them and you liked all 3 of them, you can pay for the additional shots.
Just talk to our pickup staff, like the where you pick up your prints. Just talk to them, say, hey, the guest wanted to do another picture and that, can I have that? And they will give it to you and they'll tell you how much it'll be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, any other questions? What else? We have cheat sheets.
We'll see.
We did the lining
Bob
up.
Pink has a question.
Yep.
Will that same rule for Fast Pass be applied to VIPs at Fan Expo?
Absolutely. Yeah. If you want to use the VIP line, you will have to have VIP passes for everybody that wants to be in that photo, or else you're going to end up having to be in the regular lines. What else can we talk about? For lining up, for Calgary Expo, we will have a separate ADA, American Disability Association line space. And you will be called to the front. So if you have a disability or if you have a special need, for the Calgary specifically, you can go to the accessibility booth. That's booth 4 in, I forget where it is. But if you just go to the accessibility admission and get a sticker, then you will definitely go into the ADA. Regardless of that, do let our line control know if you have a disability or if you have special needs. If you're autistic or something, that does count as special needs, obviously, and we will try to accommodate you as best as possible.
Okay. Yukon Chick asks a really good question. Will minor blemishes be edited or corrected before a photo is printed? We are not in, our technology is not set up to do photo editing. We do crop the image so that you can get the best framing of the image, but edits will not be made on the images. However, if you purchase a digital copy, then you can either edit it yourself or have somebody who has Photoshop or whatever make those adjustments for you.
Sure.
Any other ones on there?
I think we've covered just about everything. Glasses,
we did mention circumstances that are beyond our control. Obviously, there's a lot of technology and a lot of planning and organization that goes into running a massive show, especially like Calgary. There's a lot of guests and a lot of photo ops being done in complete integration with autographs and panels and all kinds of things. And although we do our best to schedule the photo ops so that the time frame that's allocated is enough time to comfortably take all those photos, anything that can affect that, for example, if, as Tatiana said earlier, if the guest stays at their autograph booth longer and shows up at their photo op later, you know, you can imagine if there's you know, if we have a time slot allotted to take 300 photos of a fairly popular guest, there's a little bit of room there for some flexing, but there's not a lot. And if they show up a half an hour late, that's a half an hour of time that they would have been shooting that they don't get anymore. And in some cases, we can move the next guest that's coming into that booth to a different booth. And sometimes we can make arrangements like that, but not very often. In fact, most of the time, all the booths are going at the exact same time. And there's a lot of things happening, a lot of photos, a lot of people in various lines going all over the place. And, you know, that's when things can get a little bit scary, but that's generally circumstances beyond our control. And we do our best to accommodate that whenever we can. But in some cases, the lines end up being a little bit longer. And but our goal is to get you your photo, the best photo that we can get you in the fastest time that we can possibly do it. So so just have that in mind, that sometimes things happen. I mean, that's
So
the way it is.
bring water. Make sure that you have a bottle of water or something, just in the event that something like that does happen. So that you're a little prepared. You know, we do understand that if we know ahead of time that a guest is going to be late, we will announce that, right? We will give you the choice to go out, you know, walk around a bit and then come back, because obviously if we know, hey, Norman Rees is going to be a half an hour late, then we will communicate that to you, and then you have the option to go away, come back in half an hour, and you know, we will try to accommodate everything as best as possible. Do bring water, because sometimes the wait can be a little longer just because of these circumstances. As long as the guest doesn't have to leave to catch a flight, we're good. Everybody gets their photo op. It might be, you know, again, because if the guest is late, you might get your photo op a half an hour later than you were expecting, or sometimes even depending on how late the guests are, and then how quickly they can do their photo ops, you might end up being an hour late. Bring water. Know that you're going to get your photo op no matter how long it's going to take.
Unless the guest jumps out to take a flight that they
Yes,
they had to take off early or something, but that's really a rare situation.
that's a rare situation. So anyway, there's no more questions. I think we've covered everything.
Yep.
So thank you, Al.
Fist bump.
Fist bump.
Thank you all for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.